There's something captivating about the words we choose when we want to stand out to someone special. A compliment can be a powerful tool or just another phrase lost among many others. But when you capture her attention with the right words, you open the door to something much deeper today. I want to show you how compliments can be more than just common flattery. They can become a mystery she wants to solve. A spark that ignites her curiosity, her interest, and even her desire, because it's not about telling her she's pretty or that her dress looks nice. That's easy. It's what everyone does. But if you know how to speak to what truly matters, to what makes her unique and special, you can achieve something few ever do, make her unable to stop thinking about you. My name is Celia, and if this is your first time, here I invite you to subscribe and turn on the notification bell, because this space is designed for men like you, those who seek to understand the secrets of attraction in a wise, respectful, and effective way. Today, I'm going to reveal 7 disruptive compliments crafted to captivate, connect, and most importantly, leave an unforgettable impression on her stay with me until the end. Because what you're about to discover isn't just a game of words, it's a true lesson in seduction and psychology. Let's begin. There's something magnetic about recognizing what a woman doesn't always see in herself. This compliment doesn't focus on her appearance or anything obvious. It speaks directly to her subconscious, to that space where she keeps the deepest questions about her worth and the impact she has on others. When you say, "Have you noticed how effortlessly you draw people to you without even realizing it?" You're not just flattering her, you're inviting her to reflect on something she likely hasn't heard phrased quite like that before. Why is it so effective? Because it balances mystery with recognition. You're not giving her all the answers, you're leaving the door open for her to explore the meaning of your words. You're making her feel that there's something uniquely special about her, something she might not even be aware she possesses. This compliment is disruptive because it doesn't rely on the obvious. It's not "I love your smile," or "you look amazing today." It's a statement that sparks her curiosity and makes her think, what does he see in me that I don't notice in that moment? She starts to look at you differently because you're offering her something no one else has a unique perspective on herself. I remember a story about a friend, Martin, who used something similar when he met a woman at a social event. His comment wasn't direct or bold. It was dropped naturally into the flow of the conversation. You have something about you that makes people want to be around you, but I don't think you realize it at first. She laughed, but then her tone shifted. She looked at him with interest and asked, "Do you really think so?" That phrase sparked a deeper conversation because she wanted to understand what Martin saw in her that others hadn't from a psychological standpoint. We know people have a deep desire to feel unique, to be valued for what sets them apart. This compliment not only satisfies that need, but also positions you as someone perceptive, someone who doesn't just skim the surface, but notices what others overlook. But be careful. Compliments like this only work if delivered with sincerity. And at the right moment, if you say it too early, it can come across as a cheap trick. Instead, wait until the conversation flows naturally and you feel a genuine connection. Say it with the authenticity of someone who truly means it, that "my friend" is the secret to its power. Do you want a woman to think about you long after the first conversation? Offer her this kind of compliment. You'll not only capture her interest, but plant a seed in her mind, making her wonder what else you see in her that others don't now. Let's move on to the second compliment, because this is just the beginning. The next one is even bolder and will show her you're not like the rest. While selecting the compliments for this video, I paused to reflect on something men often forget when trying to impress a woman. They think it's all about being direct, giving a clear and obvious compliment, but what truly leaves a mark is something much subtler, something that sparks intrigue and makes her want to know more about you. For example, imagine you're talking to a woman and suddenly with a smile, you say you're dangerous. You have an energy that's not for just anyone. Do you realize what you've just done? You're not simply telling her she's attractive or interesting. You're showing her that you perceive something in her. She might not even be aware she's projecting. You're striking a unique chord, making her wonder what it is you see that others haven't noticed. Here's the best part. This kind of compliment doesn't just flatter her, it subtly challenges her by saying she has something dangerous. You give her an air of mystery, as if her presence could disarm those who aren't prepared to handle her intensity. But at the same time, you're implying that you are what's most interesting is what happens next. She'll probably laugh or look at you with curiosity, and there's a good chance she'll ask, "Dangerous, why do you say that this is your perfect opening?" to add something like, I don't know, there's just something about you, like, you know exactly how to shift the energy in a room or change the pace of a conversation that's not something you see every day. Do you see what you've done? You haven't just caught her attention, you've made her reflect on herself from a perspective she rarely hears you're telling her. It's not just her appearance that stands out, but something deeper. Something tied to her essence from a psychological perspective. This is incredibly powerful. People, especially women, are used to hearing compliments about the obvious, their looks. Their outfit, things anyone can notice, but when you comment on her energy, her impact, or her essence, you're going beyond the surface. You're opening the door to a deeper connection. The key, of course, is that it doesn't sound rehearsed or forced. This is a compliment that needs to come naturally at the right moment, as if it's just an observation that came to mind while you were talking. That's the secret too. Make it feel genuine and spontaneous, like something only you could have noticed. Do you see what this type of compliment can accomplish? You're not just making her feel special, you're leaving her with a question in her mind. What does this man see in me that others don't? And that my friend is the first step to making her unable to get you out of her head. Now the best is yet to come. Because while this compliment creates mystery, the third one I'm going to show you takes things even further, connecting with a part of her she didn't even know she needed to hear about sometimes the most. Powerful thing you can say isn't what she expects to hear, but what makes her stop for a moment and think. There are women who, because of their character or presence, seem to command any situation. But what happens when you acknowledge that in a way that takes her out of the ordinary in a relaxed conversation? Imagine saying to her, I don't know if you've noticed, but it seems like you always get what you want without even asking for it. Do you see the impact this can have? You're not commenting on something obvious like her looks or style. You're pointing out a special magnetism, a natural ability to influence that she doesn't even need to try to use. This kind of compliment works because it places her in a position of power. You're letting her know she has an effortless control over her surroundings while also sparking her curiosity. Maybe she's never thought of herself that way. Maybe she's never considered it an attractive trait. And here you are offering her a perspective she hasn't encountered before. The key here is your tone. You don't say it as if you're amazed, but calmly, like it's an observation you've made after noticing something that's obvious to you, that makes it feel authentic, not like empty flattery. When you say something like this, you connect with her self-image. Deep down, everyone wants to feel special, to believe they have something unique to offer by pointing out something. So subtle yet powerful, you're not just complimenting her, you're giving her something to think about, something that will stay with her long after the conversation ends. Do you see these types of compliments aren't obvious, they aren't common, and that's precisely why they work now. If you found this interesting, wait until you hear what's coming next. The next compliment will make her feel as though you're seeing something in her that no one else ever has. If you've been enjoying the video so far and feel like you're discovering compliments that truly make an impact, don't forget to subscribe and hit the thumbs up button to support this content. Stay with me until the end because the most revealing insights are still to come if you're ready to go beyond the typical and understand the real dynamics of attraction. I've got a 7th compliment that could completely transform how you communicate with women and win over the person you truly desire. And tell me, where in the world are you tuning in from? I'd love to know. Let's keep going. Sometimes what captivates us most isn't the obvious, it's what's hidden, the things not openly shown but felt in the air. This principle, known in the psychology of attraction as the mystery of the unsaid, is incredibly effective because when you notice something a woman doesn't typically reveal to others, you capture her attention in a way that's entirely unique. Imagine being in a conversation and saying to her, the most interesting thing about you isn't what you show, it's what you hide. Do you know what happens when you say something like that? She pauses, her mind shifts away from the generic compliments she's heard before and starts wondering what you're seeing in her. This kind of observation is disruptive because it doesn't focus on the obvious, it dives deeper. The psychology behind this is fascinating. Most people have parts of themselves they keep hidden, not because they aren't valuable, but because they fear being judged or assume. No one will notice when you make a comment like this. You're opening a door to those hidden parts of her personality. You're telling her without directly saying it that you have the sensitivity to notice what others overlook. The key is in how you say it. This compliment shouldn't sound like a criticism or a question. It's a statement you make with quiet confidence, as if you've already figured something out about her. That's the magic when you deliver a line like this with calmness and a slight smile. You're not just sparking curiosity, you're projecting self-assurance. There's also something deeper at play here by suggesting that what she hides is what makes her intriguing. You're not only awakening her curiosity, you're inviting her to show it to you. This creates a unique dynamic of attraction where she feels compelled to open up so you can see her for who she truly is from a seduction standpoint. This compliment works because it taps into one of the deepest human desires to be fully understood. Many women, especially those used to superficial compliments, long to be seen beyond their appearance or their obvious achievements. When you say something like this, you're showing her that you have that ability, and that's something she won't easily forget. Do you see how powerful this type of compliment can be? You're not just creating a moment of connection, you're positioning yourself as someone who sees beyond the surface, and that's where the real power of attraction lies. But this doesn't end here if this compliment opens the door to mystery the next. One takes things to the realm of influence. Get ready to learn how you can turn a simple comment into a true tool of seduction. I remember a time years ago when I was dating someone who had a very particular way of making me feel special. It was one of our first dates, light conversation, wine, and laughter, when suddenly he looked at me and said something that stayed with me the rest of the night. "You know what I like most about you, how you make everything else feel less important when you speak." Do you see the subtle power of those words? He didn't tell me I was pretty or that he loved my smile. He made me feel like in that moment I was the center of his attention, that what I said and did had a direct impact on him. And that's the secret compliments like this. Don't aim for the obvious, they go deeper. You're not praising something anyone can notice, like her looks or style. You're acknowledging something that arises naturally from the interaction, like the way her presence affects you. That's what makes it so powerful from a psychological perspective. This type of compliment taps into a fundamental human need to be valued for one's emotional impact. When you tell a woman something like this, you're making her feel not only seen, but also heard, that the way she expresses herself has a unique effect on you that night. His words completely changed how I saw him. He wasn't just someone I felt comfortable with or attracted to. He became someone who truly seemed to see me. And that, believe me, is unforgettable when you use this kind of compliment. Make sure it's genuine. For example, if you're enjoying a conversation with a woman who has a unique way of expressing herself, pause for a moment and tell her you don't have to wait for the date to progress too far. Just recognize that moment when something about her surprises or delights you and share it naturally. Something like, "I don't know if anyone's ever told you this, but the way you explain things makes everything feel so much clearer." Or even, "It's incredible how you make an ordinary conversation feel so interesting." The key is to say it sincerely and calmly, as if it's just something you noticed in the moment. If you do it right, you'll have accomplished much more than giving her a compliment. You'll have shown her that there's something uniquely valuable about her, something no one else has mentioned before. So my friend, if you want a woman to remember how you made her feel, don't. Focus only on what she already knows as obvious. Speak about what she brings to the moment, how she changes the atmosphere around her. And if you can do that, you'll leave a much deeper impression than you imagine now. If you found this compliment effective, wait until you hear what's next. Because in this sixth compliment, I'm going to show you how to create an emotional impact that goes beyond words, connecting with something truly special in her. Imagine this. You're in a conversation with a woman, and for a moment you notice something most people overlook. It's not her style, her laugh, or even how she speaks. It's how her presence shifts, the dynamics of everything around her. That's your moment. You look at her calmly and say, "Has anyone ever told you that the way you look at someone could make even the most confident person second guess themselves in that instant?" You create a pause, a small spark in her mind. You're not giving her a generic or predictable compliment. You're highlighting something that touches her essence, something she may never have considered, but starts to believe because you noticed it. The psychology behind this compliment is fascinating. It's based on the principle of projective validation. When you highlight a unique trait in someone, especially one that's rarely mentioned, they not only feel special, but also begin to reinterpret that trait as something powerful. It's as if you're handing her a key to rediscover herself with your words as the starting point. What makes this kind of Compliment special is that you're not focusing on something superficial. You're speaking to how her energy and presence influence those around her. This not only makes her feel unique, but also more self assured because you're revealing a side of her she may not have known existed. When you use compliments like this, deliver them calmly and with authenticity. Don't say it as if you're trying to impress her. Say it like it's an observation you couldn't keep to yourself. That natural delivery is what turns a compliment into a meaningful connection. This type of comment will make her reflect. She'll wonder why you think that what you saw in her to say it, and most importantly, why no one else has mentioned it before that. Intrigue, that curiosity is what makes the compliment not just memorable, but truly captivating. Do you see the power of well-chosen words? They don't just grab her attention in the moment, they linger in her thoughts long after the conversation ends, and that, my friend, is the real art of seduction, leaving an impression that doesn't fade now. If this compliment sparked your interest, wait until you hear the final one I've prepared. What's coming next ties all these ideas together, giving you a powerful and effective way to leave a lasting mark. You're in the middle of a conversation with her. Maybe she's passionately explaining something, making her case with conviction, and you notice the energy she pours into every word. This is the perfect moment you look at her, smile slightly, and say, "You're almost too persuasive." I wonder if that's natural or if you've practiced to always get your way. You say it lightly as if it's just an offhand observation, but enough for her to pause and process it. Why does it work? Because it's not just any compliment. You're not commenting on her looks or even her way of speaking. You're pointing out a powerful quality in her ability to influence and stand out. Here's the interesting part. You're not just flattering her, you're adding a small challenge by suggesting she might be using it intentionally to her advantage. This creates playful tension, a sort of push and pull dynamic that elevates the conversation. Now she's not just engaged, she's intrigued. She'll want to keep talking to you, maybe even prove whether you're right or wrong from a seduction psychology perspective. This technique is incredibly effective because you're not giving her all the validation right away. You're blending attraction with intrigue. You're acknowledging something unique about her, but leaving enough room for the conversation to evolve. That spark of playful provocation keeps the energy alive. The tone is key. It should feel lighthearted, as if it's something that just occurred to you in the moment. Don't deliver it as an obvious compliment or a direct challenge. That balance is what creates the perfect dynamic. The real power of this compliment lies in its timing, when you use it while she's speaking or passionately defending a point. You're not just catching her attention, you're making her feel like you're truly listening, that you're seeing something in her that not everyone notices while still keeping your own composure. Do you see how effective something so simple can be now? You have one more tool to capture her interest and keep the conversation alive in a way that few men can. And if you found this helpful, stick around for the Konkel illusion, where we'll tie all these pieces together into an approach that will truly set you apart. And so we've reached the end of this journey, but not the end of what you can discover today. We didn't just talk about compliments, we explored how the right words spoken with intention can create deeper connections and leave an impression that goes far beyond the surface. Because in the end, it's not about complimenting for the sake of it. It's about seeing, listening, and recognizing what truly makes the person in front of you unique. The power of a compliment lies in its authenticity, in how it reflects the attention you give to the other person. And what's even more interesting is that as you learn to do this with others, you also begin to notice more about yourself. Every interaction, every conversation is an opportunity to grow, to understand, and to create something meaningful. My name is Celia, and I want this space place to be a refuge where we can talk about the things that make a real difference in our lives here. We're not discussing empty techniques, but how to connect from a place of respect, authenticity, and wisdom. Because as I always say, every small effort we make to better understand ourselves and others reflects back in a fuller life and more genuine relationships. If this is your first time here, I invite you to subscribe and turn on the notification bell. The topics coming up will surprise you because they're not only designed to help you understand the dynamics of attraction, but also to discover more about yourself in the process. And if you've made it this far, it's because you're genuinely committed to your own growth, and that deserves recognition. To see who's truly connected with this message to the end, I'd like to ask you to comment with the phrase, "I love wisdom," and share where in the world you're tuning in from. I'd love to know who's walking with me on this journey of learning. I'll see you in the next video. Remember, every word you choose has the power to transform an interaction, a relationship, and perhaps even your entire life.